Okay, interesting. We got cut off again. The camera just stops. I don't know why, but anyhow, so now I'm going to the plan part 3. We just are looking at the word Elohim right now, and that's where we're going to continue. So if you want to know where we've been, please go look at part 1 and 2. So we saw that Elohim in Gematria, among other words, was karma and a plan. And when you can also use the anagram for Elohim, and I got the M, which is just a leftover letter, but M is a significant letter, and I'll look into that later, and Helio. So come with me to look at Helio. And remember in Genesis 1:26, God then said, "Let us make men under our shadow." So what casts a shadow, right? Okay, so we're just looking at this. So Helio, the definition, a combining form meaning sun. So sun. And just a quick side note, I find this kind of interesting. There's a wireless carrier named Helio also. Whoa. So anyhow, that was just yikes. Okay. So here's a weird little twisted side note. So Helios is the offspring of the Titans Hyperion and Thea. Hyperion and Thea. And when you use them as an anagram, it's a hyphenation ride. And hyphenation means a person who is active in more than one occupation or sphere. You guys, have you realized or kind of noticed that a lot of the elite or people who kind of control this world have a lot going on? They've got their hands in lots of little tills. So I just thought that was interesting. So here's a weird little twisted depiction of Helios. An ancient Greek religion and myth is the god and the personification of the sun, often depicted in art with a radiant crown. A radiant crown. Okay, so while we're still in Genesis and while we're still sort of talking about the sun, I wanted to read this one little part, and it says, God further said, "Let reflectors appear in the expanse of the heavens for a division between the day and the night, and let them serve to mark seasons, periods, and years, and let them also illuminate the expanse of the sky so as to reflect their light upon the earth." Okay, and that was done. God had made 2 large luminaries, the larger one to control the day, and the smaller one to control the night, accompanied by the stars. So he created 2 illuminaries. So one was the sun and one's the moon, right? So I don't know where we came up with the sun is the only one that shines and the moon's being reflected, but I'm not sure. So God made 2 large luminaries, the larger one to control the day and the smaller one to control the night, accompanied by the stars. So, and God had fixed them in heavenly expanse so as to illuminate the earth, to control the day, and to control the night, and to mark the division between the light and the darkness. And God saw they were beautiful. This was the close of the dawn of the 4th age. So I'm still in Genesis, as early as I'm on page 2. So this is the first time that I also saw the word ever living. So the creation planned by its creator. These were the predictions for the heavens and the earth during their creation in the period of the organization by the Lord God of both the earth and heavens, and of every plant of the field before it was upon the earth, and every herb of the field before he caused it to grow, even before the ever-living God had scattered them upon the earth, and man existed not to cultivate the earth. And it says the ever-living God afterwards formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the life of animals. So there's ever living again. The formation of man from the dust of the ground by the ever living God. So Farrar Fenton puts a footnote right there by the animals. It says, into the nostrils of the life of the animals. He put the footnote, scrolling, sorry, and one is or reflective or intellectual life. So, life of animals is intellectual life. So I find it strange too that the word ever living can also be seen as inveigle. I don't even know how to pronounce that with a V. Okay, so that's weird. So inveigle, to persuade someone to do something in a clever and dishonest way when they do not want to do it. I thought that was weird, and we can't forget that V. So here's that letter V, and I'm going to read a little bit to you guys about the letter V. It says the letter V comes from the Semitic letter Y, as do the modern letters F, U, W, and Y. So in Greek, the letters epsilon, so there's a Y, was adopted. It tells you about that. This was later fronted to Y, to font rounded vowel spelled U. I don't know how they said that, but in German. So in Latin, a stemless variant shapes of epsilons was borrowed in early times as V. Gonna keep scrolling here. So again, the inveigle, to win over by wiles, to entice. And this says the inveigler uses lies as weapons and weaves armor from falsehood. A manipulator and a cheat. The inveigler is so consumed with hiding the truth and controlling others' ideas of what the truth is, that its words and thoughts gain supernatural power. Now I'm jumping to this word, cabal. It says 1520s, mystical interpretation of the Old Testament. Later, an intriguing society, a small group meeting privately. So from French cabal, which means both senses, Kabbalah, it was an acronym. So anyhow, mystical interpretation of the Old Testament. So what does that mean? Okay, so I want to go back to the seed sign in Genesis and the Elohim, which also has an anagram. I'm sorry, not an anagram, but a gematria is karma and a plan. And you know all the things that we're hearing about Q a lot? Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the plan. The plan to save the world. It's always anyone who follows Q, he's all, or she, whatever, someone is all into the plan to save the world. That's what everyone, all the patriots are waiting for the plan. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I saw when I look into the plan. Okay, so even Wikipedia has a page on Q, which now they refer to as QAnon, because a group of people get together and decipher codes and stuff like that. But let's see, it is a conspiracy theory, they're saying, mainly to disseminated by supporters of President Trump so they love the words of the storm. I think Trump even used that, right? The storm. So they're also saying, I guess according to Travis's view, who has studied the QAnon phenomenon and written about it extensively for the Washington Post, the essence of the conspiracy theory is that there is a worldwide cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles who rule the world, essentially, and they control everything. They control politicians, they control the media, they control Hollywood, they cover up their existence. Essentially, they would have continued ruling the world were it not for the election of President Trump. Anyhow, so, and Q is always really famous about saying, sit back, eat your popcorn or grab the popcorn and trust the plan. That's his biggest thing, is trust the plan. So we're going to look into that plan a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go real quick and just look at the plan. You've got friends, so that's nice. Apple card, the mark. And you have the word biblical God as well. It's the simple gematria of the number 76, which is the same simple number as the plan. Vaccine is also the same number as the plan. It's 76. T-Mobile is also the plan. It's got the number 76. And the mark is also the same numerical value as the plan. See, so the plan is, the numbers are 234, 456, and 76. So when I went to this GAO, U.S. Government Accountability Office, we're talking about military transformation, and the Army has a comprehensive plan for managing its transformation. It says, but faces major challenges. So I went in and looked at this plan, and if you look in here, the word plan, I think I've already mentioned this before, but the word plan is mentioned, I think it's 13 times in just one page. So sorry about all the reflection on this video, you guys. But so it talks about the military transformation. The Army has a comprehensive plan that faces major challenges. Here's the GAO accountability. I was also curious about the initials with GAO, because I know the powers that be love their numbers. They love their little numerical stuff. So they do communicate with these. So I wanted to go look at that. We're going to go look to see what the GAO means in the gematria. So GAO 58, 138, and 23. So the word agenda is 58, agenda, and then if you look at the 32, the 23, what's up is down, what's black is white. They tend to flip things, but anyhow, agenda, Helios, and DOD. So you got the Department of Defense there as well. You've got the word Cain, and I was going to come back to that a little bit later. So this is also, so 23. You have W, which the W and the V and the Y are all interesting. They're related. You got fake. There's your bat. Hey, Wuhan. So the GAO equals agenda, fake, W, end, DOD, bat, and also Cain. That'll come into, I can talk about that later though. So this is talking about results in brief. And again, they constantly are talking about the plan, the plan, the plan. They love the plan. But this says here too, because the plan affects every part of the Army, it is accompanied by an electronic tool that permits responsible parties in the Army to synchronize their efforts, track progress, and adjust plans as problems arise. And here they also mentioned the lack of an overall Department of Defense. So they mentioned the Department of Defense, which also was one of the words that GAO equaled. So here also the plan, when you look at it, Apple card, the mark, Air Force, 76 is the simple gematria, and that's red pill, the mark, the plan, Columbia, as in maybe DC, So trust the plan. That was 804, 1044, and 174. It says the silence of the storm and red letter day. So it's also 174 is New World Order. Red letter, so I think I read this to you guys earlier about the red letter refers to the New Testament's verses and parts of verses printed in red ink to indicate the words attributed to Jesus without the use of quotations. So storm is coming, number of the beast, November 6th. And the word planning, when we look at that, so planning is 217, 522, and 87. Bill Gates also equals 87. Okay, remember too, you guys, Abel, as in Cain and Abel. So look how they can change the words around. Abel can equal Baal equals Baal. So Baal is the demon in the 17th century. I think it's Gothic occult writings, one of the 7 princes of hell. Like hello, the name is drawn from the Canaanite deity Baal mentioned in the Hebrew Bible and the primary god of the Phoenicians. I don't know why I have that 7 equals 5G, but it does. But anyhow, we're going to look something up. Okay, now this is a document I found, and I might have to just start a whole another video on this. I'll start touching on a little bit of this just so we can link the planning. But this is something I ran into, and I kind of thought this was interesting. So it's I don't even know where this came from, but it says, very good advice. Is this the way we will do it? And it is sent to, let's see, hang on, Deputy Director for Administration. And what I find is interesting is Mr. McDonald, it says Donald, but so it says a case for planning. And I'm telling you guys, I've read this document and it is not what it seems, and it goes very deep into the plan. You can call someone paranoid, but everything is interesting the way things sort of line up. And I'll read that. I'll read a lot of this to you, but they talk about organizational priorities, climate. Let me just start reading it to you now, and then we'll cut it short because this has already gone on long enough. But again, this is about, and what year is this? So June 83. I think this isn't when this was made. I think it was before that. Well, maybe not. I'll see the date. Oh, there it is. Well, so it was released on 2008. So I guess it was written on 83. But this is kind of concerning. It's interesting. So I know I'm just going to read this page. It's their page 3. Although somehow it comes up as 2 on this document. But here I go. I'm just going to read this first page, and I'll start our next video later. So it says, a case for planning. That's a key word, I think, here, you guys. There's a lot of key words that when you see things in a document, it can kind of tell you to pay attention because there's a lot of things going on. So, okay, I'm not going to be watching the phone. I'm just going to be reading. Planning is a great untapped resource in office systems management. While all pay homage to it, few actually practice it. Reactive management is survival behavior taught by years of organizational firefighting. As management repeatedly focuses its attention to respond to the compelling demands of issues which require immediate attention, organizational myopia results. The planning receives relatively low priority. There is an additional, oh, remember though, kind of try to read between the lines, but I'll show you some things first. When we hit the word population, I'll show you that. There is an additional deterrent to planning in the information area. The only industry constant is change. Planning is frustratingly complex in an environment which is evolving so rapidly that it denies the illusion of certainty. As a result, there are two radical poles of thought of office automation planning. Either wait until the perfect system is available or buy anything to avoid missing the parade. In between is continuum, in which a balance may be found in cautious evolution. Office information systems have become a focal point of ever-increasing organizational resources in the past 5 years. By the year 1990, 85% of all clerical and secretarial personnel in the U.S. will be using a terminal to facilitate their work. So obviously this is way before their computers. And the number of technical, professional, managerial, and executive individuals using personal computers, decision support systems, and specific application programs grows daily. Managing the burgeoning population of office information systems requires greater organizational expertise, more technical knowledge, and industry perspective, and better planning with a shorter learning curve than any other challenge which has faced corporations and government agencies to date. So managing the burgeoning population. Okay, so planning is key to good systems management. The strategic plan for office systems addresses the user population and its needs, defines the parameters of the desired systems, sets a timetable for assessment and installation, facilitates vendor negotiations and contracting, and establishes benchmarks to track progress. In brief, a strategic plan is a reasonable course of action, serving as a roadmap, which may ultimately show one where one has been better than where one is going, but without which it is extremely difficult to chart a course. Okay, so we're going to look at the word population. So 590, 834, and 139. So we have the word holy book. That's funny, the Lord's Gematria. Whoops, sorry. You got Kobe Bryant, transhuman. So Kobe Bryant, transhuman, population, soul scalping, hell energy, the Church of Satan. So you've got the COVID-19, so that's the simple. So these are the simple gematria equivalents. You have Freemasonry and COVID-19 are both 139. So that's population. That's under the word population. They have it written up here too. You have Warren Buffett, and I'll tell you this goes deep, but we're going to get to that later. Ooh, there's Dragon Slayer. That's funny. And we have William Gates, who's also equivalent to 139, the English or simple gematria. So I'm going to read this last paragraph again. So planning is key to good systems management. A strategic plan for office systems addresses the user population as it needs, defines the parameters of the desired systems, sets a timetable for assessment and installation, facilitates vendor negotiations and contracting, and establishes benchmarks to track progress. In brief, a strategic plan is a reasonable course of action serving as a roadmap which may ultimately show one where one has been better than one where one is going, but without which it is extremely difficult to chart a course. So I'll finish up there. That's only page 3. I'm going to read this document to you guys, and you'll see how it unfolds into something very sinister. But so very good advice. Is this the way we will do it? So hang on to your hats. I'll do this tomorrow. So it's 7/20/2020 today, and I'll carry on tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.